Yeah,
Hello?
Miller.
Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Oh, they put me on too early. I was in the middle of some crazed rant of yours. So what's up?
Did you follow the healthcare vote?
No, I don't follow much anymore, Bill. It's crap. I don't care about any of it.
All right, so you didn't
And
follow it.
I'm very happy.
Why?
I think everybody should do it. The country's kind of shot. Everybody should hit their knees and thank God that Trump slowed it down for a little bit, but he's not going to stop it. It just went too far. It's a screwed up country. Look, you can't even get Republicans to. I know the broad strokes. I'm not trying to act like I'm living in a bubble. That Republicans wouldn't even bring a bill that they passed 2 years ago to the floor this time. It's a big system of graft, corruption, payoffs. And the American citizens eat it because we've been trained to eat it, and we're going to continue to eat it. So I have to take days or weeks off, and then I come back and read a little. But I can't follow it on a day-to-day basis. It's a disaster. Paul Ryan's a creep. I know people say, oh, he's a great man. I don't think of these guys as great men. I think politicians as creepy, weird guys who are in it for themselves and in it to grease their states so they can get plaques put up and fancy themselves as immortals, but on a day-to-day basis, I think they lead insipid, crappy, weird, payoff lives.
Now, we're going to talk to you tomorrow on Thursday about the overall, and I think I'm getting a lot of mail that people feel the way that you do. They're kind of withdrawing from the process. But on healthcare, I mean, you and I are lucky because we have the money to pay for our own healthcare and take care of our families in that regard and this and that. But many
wait, can I stop? Or
Sure.
are we allowed to talk back and forth?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Why am I lucky?
Because
why am I lucky? When I was 16 years old, I remember getting even younger, a Social Security card. And at 16, when I was growing up, that's the time you sort of started working. I'm 63 now, and I've worked 47 years. I've paid so much money into so many things over the years. I so limited-wise use the healthcare system. And I always hear this, well, we're lucky. I, honest to God, don't know how anybody doesn't come of a certain age and think, I better start busting my ass. I've got to get a healthcare system. I've got to get my kids. And when people say, no, some people will never be able to do that, I said, well, is that like a damning prediction on your part? Do some people take that and go, I guess I won't? I just don't understand how this has happened, that somebody who, to me, I just led not even a noble life, a normal life, like where a man comes to adulthood and starts feeding himself and trying to buy some clothes, buy the car he can afford, work towards a house, although keeping in mind you might never have one. And if you get sick, you have to have some system in place where you pay some money to pay for it, or you work hard enough to get a job where they pay for it. And I always say everybody's lucky now. And I think,
here's what I mean.
Is it lucky or is it legitimate?
I know what you're saying. Look, Miller and O'Reilly, self-reliant guys, worked hard and consistently since we were very young. But we're lucky in the sense that we both have good health. We both had some guidance, you from your mother, me from my mother and father. We both had opportunities that came our way, and that just was serendipitous. So that's why I say that we seized the opportunities. Both of us seized them, but they were there, as opposed to some kid in Oakland, California with no dad, who never gets an opportunity, no book in the house, surrounded by terrible behavior, bad education, school system falling apart. So that's when I say we're lucky that at least we had a foundation to succeed, and we did. But in the healthcare realm, I mean, I agree with you that we can't set up an entitlement state, which Barack Obama did for 8 years, and that has tremendously eroded self-reliance in this country. And I know you agree with that because we talk about it in the shows all the time. But now there comes a point where...
Let me ask you this. Is it a weird system that somebody young can start paying a lot probably more than they would have had to if they could have went out and picked a few things they wanted covered. Somebody young and healthy has to do that or pay a fine between now and 60 and maybe catch a massive break. But you bump into those people in your life where they say, you go, when was the last time you were sick? And I didn't get sick. So is it fair that somebody can do that approach and another person can, like, never from day one pay any attention to his health? In some instances, you see people, I know you're not allowed to notice girth anymore or you're an evil person, but you see some people walking around. Sometimes you go to a market, airport, an amusement park, you go, wow, this country's big. It must be those sodas or somebody who never tried to do anything.
No, listen, I got it.
And then at some point gets really sick and says, well, I never paid into insurance either, but you got to pay for it now because it's a pre-existing guy. I guess. Is that what passes for fair now? Or do you look back at the first person and think, geez, that poor bastard's been paying into it for years and never used it. This guy could care less, didn't even take care of himself. Now he's got a liver, that's made out of mush, and he's jumping in and he wants us to pay for it, and there's no even please and thank you about it. But what is fair anymore?
That isn't fair. But the system is based upon the greater good. But what's happened now is this: the Republican healthcare system basically wanted to cap the entitlement society. That's what it did in the long run. It capped it. All right. Democrats don't want any caps. They just want to keep spending and run up a $40 trillion debt. We have 20 now. Democrats want 40. They don't care. All right. So that's what it was all about. But the Republican Party couldn't get even that done. They couldn't even get a basic bill done. As flawed as it was, they couldn't get it done. So now the Republican Party basically opens itself up to destruction. So we're heading toward a one-party system, and the one party is the monolithic, progressive Democratic Party, where if you step out of line, we punish you, we destroy you, we cut off your funds if you're a politician. That's how they keep all these people in line, Miller. The Republicans don't have any discipline. They're all over the place. Democrats, 100% of them, were not going to vote for the revocation of Obamacare. They don't care how bad it was because they're scared to death.
Well, it's happened, Billy. We've been having this chat now. I've known you for 5 or 6 years. We've been friends on the road. I think I've been pretty consistent saying it's happened. I believe it's happened. I don't think it's coming back.
All right,
I think Trump was the last stand where people just got petrified and said, well, let's put somebody in who hasn't even worked in there. Maybe he'll do it. I view Trump as, I know people say, oh, he's so crazy. I view him as being overly conciliatory on some of this stuff. I don't see him slowing it down. I do see it getting worse. It's going to turn into a socialist state. I think it'll be more rancorous than the Scandinavian socialist states because I do think people over here have not been sort of raised like that and aren't used to that. And this is a gimme mine culture, for better or for worse. Okay. I think the first time some checks don't go out because everybody's doing well for others, but nobody's really trying for themselves. I think there's going to be, well, I don't want to say the word, then they accuse you of being the paranoid. I think there'll be interesting results as this country of 340 million people converts over to a system where everybody ostensibly has the same. And there are hints down the road of what some people want Sharia law practiced. I don't think that all argues well. Obviously, I'm going to put a reserve on what I say because, like I said, all they do now is drive you crazy. When you say, God, you're driving me crazy, this shit's insane, they say you're a nutcase. So I'll just say it's going to be interesting.
Let me stop you there and then promo again that Miller will be on tomorrow as well to talk about how he personally is handling all this. That was the one and only Dennis Miller. And tomorrow we're going to have a philosophical but funny conversation that we taped today, so don't miss it. All right, let's get back to the No Spin News. This is